Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of our heart-powered inspiring interviews. And as you know, every time we introduce you to an amazing entrepreneur, speaker, thought leader, change maker. And today as well, I've invited my great friend, Geeta Sidhu-Robb. She's really a special combination of so much goodness. And she's a mother, she's an author, she's an inspirational public speaker. And of course, everyone knows her for being the CEO and founder of Nosh Detox. Well, she's regularly on media, on print and radio and national TV, and that has given her a strong media profile as an expert, very known in her field. She, also what not everyone might know, but she gave up her career as a corporate lawyer to set up her own business, Nosh Detox, in 2008. And that happened because her son was severely ill as a baby. That got her to take a different turn in her life. She, since then, imagine she's helped more than 20,000 successful professional women and some men with all kinds of challenges like weight loss and recover from stress and improving performance and profitability in their business, creating transformation, building leadership skills, and who doesn't know this one, managing imposter syndrome. Well, Geeta, it's amazing to have you with us today. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Monique. So happy to be here.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I love all the colors around you and then the sunflowers and everything. You're a girl of joy and health and well-being and you also help people with their business. So that's amazing. And let's jump right in. I mean, you kind of reinvented yourself in 2008, right? We keep reinventing ourselves from time to time in our business with what we speak about with our speaking, the game.
Yeah.
Right? So I'd really like to jump right in and ask you, like, what are your top 3 secrets right now, or 3 things you do in your business right now to really make it thrive and grow further?
I always think that when you want your business to grow, the place that you work is on yourself, really, because if you don't work on yourself, it almost doesn't matter what you do on the outside, it doesn't work. And we regularly kind of go through these purges and come out the other side, which, anybody who's had a business for 14 years has had to do that regularly. But the pandemic changed so much of the world. So the one thing we did was we completely changed how our marketing is working. So what we did was we did a whole overview on everything, and we worked out actually we now track every single piece of data. So we track how our social media makes us money. We track how our everybody, all the visits to the website. We have had special dashboards built that tell us exactly what's happening in the business. So we have numbers all the way through. The second thing that we did was, because we started coaching, I started doing kind of group coaching in the beginning of the pandemic, because that was when we realized women really needed it. We've taken the coaching and now started to get a lot of phenomenal results out of it. So now we're doing a lot of just testimonial based work. So, that's something that we have never done quite that much. And now it's a regular part of everything we're doing. The third thing is that we looked at what was actually driving sales. And we decided to do more of that. And one of the things that drives our sales so much is when I speak. So if I do lives, or if I'm doing events, or I'm doing speaking, we've noticed that it makes a really big difference all the way through from our website through to Amazon. Because we have products on Amazon. And so we now have a schedule for lives and events set into our social media calendar and into our content calendar, basically going forward.
I love that. So many powerful things. And let's dive into each of them a little more, because I feel like, again, everyone wants to know, so what is working these days? How are you doing things? And I love, as you said, you start to really measure what is working well related to your marketing, right? You really started, you said you created your dashboard, you really started to track, like, how is what working? Can you go a little more into this and let us know what are some of the things that you feel need to be on everyone's marketing dashboard?
I mean, I think that I mean, well, one of the problems is that when we started this, unfortunately, I got COVID 2 months ago. And it was a really difficult exercise because physical health is a large part of what I do and who I am. And I was exhausted and I wasn't functioning very well. And it was a really great thing because it pulled me out of the business. Because when you as the CEO and the founder come out of the business, what's left is what the business is without you. And it was the biggest learning because I realized that my marketing didn't work without me. And so I fired the marketing manager. Was kind of the first thing I did, which is a bit sad because I really liked her. But if my marketing wasn't working without me, then it is not proper marketing. Because marketing, I love automation, but marketing should be funnelized and it should be something that works without you. And you give everybody that works with you the autonomy to do what it is that they're doing and to learn in that process. So you are not the only person that knows it. And so I was like, well, this is not working. So what I did was then look and think, okay, what do I want to track? How do I track what is working? And I went back to sales and I was like, why did these sales do really well? And it's like, oh yeah, that happens. And I'm like, no. What if you didn't say that happened? What would it be? So that's when we went back in and we pulled all our sales from everywhere. And then I started to compare them to everything. And the thing that made a difference was when I was doing lives and when I was doing, speaking. Now you can say that that's still me in my business, because if I get sick, then that's not working. But what we also found was that when I'm live and speaking, yes, but it's also actually translating into daily views across our social, but also across YouTube. Whether I was there or I wasn't there, it made absolutely no difference to our YouTube views. They stayed consistent. So it was finding out what would work without me, what's the funnel, and that when somebody listens to me speak, what do we do with them after they've joined us? So we drilled it down into that. So we now have a social to sales dashboard. And the social to sales dashboard tracks what we do in social every day. Did we do a reel? Did we do a live? Did we do this? Did we do that? And it's this massive spreadsheet. And we will eventually, we haven't had enough data yet, but eventually it will give us enough data to understand more trends. And then we have the same thing with Google Analytics going straight through to sales. So we have those as web sales and other sales. So we have that as a separate thing. So Google Analytics tells us about our users to the website and the people who purchase on the site. And the other one tells us from social media through to sales. So we have one at this end and one at this end now.
I love it. And again, that's how you help, how you make sure that your business starts to scale, right?
Yes.
Because again, otherwise we just do things and it's fun, right? So, and then sometimes, as tough as it is when we get Corona, right? And I'm happy to see you vibrant and joyful again, right?
It was very useful.
But again, it's great because again, you start looking at things from a distance, right? And same on our side. I mean, we have all kinds of measures in the business, like you do, right? And again, it's so insightful when you start looking at these numbers, right? You say, oh, we only thought that is getting us a lot of traction and interest. But we see it's this one, right? So again, it really, again, it's like starting to hold a steering wheel, for your business in your hands. You also said something else, Geeta, and I loved it. You said, we do a lot of testimonial-based work now. Tell us a little more about that. That sounds intriguing.
When we started off the coaching the group coaching, which is called Rewire, and it's on stress-based coaching. When we started it I started it in April. I started thinking about it in 2020, and I launched it at beta versions, and I launched it properly in April 2021. And so what's been really interesting is that I took all my original group and I saw these phenomenal results, and it was really lovely, but not everybody spoke about it all the time. Then recently we've been adding a few people, every week and every month. And this crowd are kind of saying, wow, I got a result after 2 sessions. Wow, I got this. This is amazing. And they're independently putting it up on LinkedIn and they're putting it up everywhere else. So we were like, wow, that's really helpful. So what we've done is put that directly into our content calendar. So our content calendar will say has one day, which is about the benefits the clients get. And then it has one day about the client and why they came to us.
I love that.
And ultimately, that's marketing. You have a client, you want to tell them the benefit and you want to tell them why they came. But instead of me saying it, let them say it, because it has so much more value.
Oh, very much. And we do the same. I mean, we collect testimonies all the time. And again, I love it on social media. I like the, smart way you're doing it is, it makes them shine and it makes you shine, right?
Yeah.
And what better marketing is there than doing that, right? Okay.
Yes.
Really, really powerful. Yeah.
And one of the things that we don't want to do as much now is, there was parts where we just, oh, Geeta helped me do this. And I'm like, we need to really take my name out of it, because it's about the client and what the client has done, because what I'm doing is holding the space for them to do the amazing stuff, right? So it's just been a really great change, and it's phenomenal. And now we have people talking about the community, because the community has started to develop, and it's just a lovely feeling.
It's great, lovely. I love it. And again, letting someone else shine is a powerful way, right?
Yeah.
And I also, as you're saying, it's all about our clients, right? It's not about us. I mean, we're the servers, right? I mean, we're serving them, right? Great. And I know that you're a media queen, Geeta. I mean, you have so many media appearances. You've been on TV even. That's what a lot of people want. So, how do you step up making that happen? You say, you're also a speaker. Speaking gives us boosts our visibility, helps also when we get in touch with media. But there's a lot of people that say, you know what? I haven't even had an article in a magazine. Should I even go for TV already? Oh my God, who would care about my message? So again, what were the first steps for you to get into media? Maybe you can give some practical steps to our listeners and people that watch this today.
The thing, Monique, is I've done it for so long, I don't remember the first steps, to be honest. I really would struggle to say, here's how to first do it.
Right.
But the route for anyone who isn't visible is, number one, a PR company is very effective. Yeah. They really, really are effective. And there are so many different kinds of PR companies these days that you can have one that starts at £400 for an article through. And if you can afford a PR company at the most minimum level, that's how you get seen. And secondly, when you are put in any form of media, what I'm very clear about is I always say what I think. I don't say what someone wants to hear. And I have never said what someone wants to hear, because my personality is not like that. And I make very sure that I come across like that in the media as well. So we were at a lunch recently, and I did a TV session about a woman who said that parents who work from home, their children are really badly brought up. And I was like, what? And so they said to me, will you come on? And I was like, sure. And this is like Good Morning Britain. And so there's millions and millions of views. And the first thing she talked about it, and when they came to, she said, I'm part of the Women's International Group or something. And the first they came to me and they said, okay, what do you have to say to this? Because you have worked from home for the last 20 years. And I was like, well, the first thing I'm going to say is I'm going to check if I'm a member of the group that you run, and I'm going to resign because I don't agree with you. And so there's a place there where maybe you wouldn't necessarily have said it, but the fact that I did say it, then fast forward 6-8 weeks later, and I was having lunch, and this man came up to me and said, I can't believe you said that. I remembered it word for word, and good for you. And it was like, so you have to be memorable. Yes. And the only way that you're memorable is because you are unique. What you have to say is unique. And the way I am unique in my industry, you will be my space, not even my industry, my space, you will be unique in yours. So being memorable is honestly 90% of the game, because when someone puts you on TV, they have a small segment of 1.5 to 5 minutes where they need you to be interesting. And the only way for you to do that is to be you and memorable. And if anyone who knows me off air, I swear all the time. I literally, honestly, we spend a lot of time talking on Zoom, but we haven't met in person. I have the worst mouth. I swear all the time, but I never swear on air. That is not how I make myself memorable. I'm not telling people bad things about them. That's not a way to make yourself memorable. You can be memorable just because you have a different.
And you want to be memorable in a good way, right? I mean, you want to honor people, but you also want to be authentic. So when something's really off, I mean, there's nothing wrong with just putting a finger into the wound, right? I mean, it's, and that's what you're saying. It's all about embracing your own story, right? I mean, you've helped many people with this imposter syndrome and self-confidence and other things. And again, when you have that, right? I mean, being memorable doesn't mean that you know that you're complaining or you're blaming people or you're saying nasty things, right? As you say, right? But
And
still,
also
sometimes it's necessary. Okay.
yeah, but also not to try to be memorable, because
Yes.
that's really obvious, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's also just some very practical things, like when women, I mean, and men, but it's very noticeable in women, when women speak publicly, they start to speak really quickly, and then their voices get really high and very, you know, and
Right.
it's a very painful. You don't listen to someone whose voice isn't mellifluous. You just won't listen to it. So whenever I am speaking publicly, whether to you or whatever, I slow down my speech and my voice gets much deeper.
Yes.
And in a way, those little things really matter.
I love it. And, you know, again, it's just a sign, or, you know, it just shows that when you pay attention to your voice, you're present. And when you're present with your voice, you're present with your audience and everyone else too, right?
I think it's very difficult for women though as well, because when you as a woman come across too intense and too passionate and too, it kind of, people don't like it, right? So with men, you show up as being groomed, that's fine, people will listen to what you're saying. But for women, I think there are more degrees that you have to go through to be seen and heard and accepted. And I'm very careful about those things, because that's kind of what my job is. If I'm on, I see going on air as a job, a different job, and I make sure I show up for that job the way I need to show up for that job.
Right, love it. And Geeta, I know that again, you know, I mean, what we do regularly, right, is what gets us to results in the end, right? And whatever we do regularly, we talk about a habit. So I'd like to know, right, what is actually one of your success habits? What are you doing regularly to get you the results and the success and the joy in life that you have?
Oh, I don't know. I do so many things all the time, and they're part of what I do. I tell you, I think probably the most, I have a thing called success markers that I teach my clients. And a success marker is like this. Usually what we do is when we want to be successful, we have goals and we think, what can we do towards those goals? And I turn that on its head. So I do that differently. I teach my clients what your success marker, the thing that will make you successful, is to work out what stops you being successful and deal with that, right? So if, for example, I have a client who runs a public listed company, and her success markers were her daughter and her team. And it took us a while to work that out, but we worked out that when her daughter was happy, her life worked, because she was a single parent. And we worked out that when her senior executive team were happy, her life was better, because she felt like her business was being taken care of. And so once we knew that, those two were her success markers, because if I was talking to her, and we've had a coaching agreement for 4 or 5 years now, if I could know something was wrong, I knew it's either the child or the team. And I was like, okay, these are the two we have to deal with now. So if we deal with them to the best of our ability, something will always happen. And now she, you know, her company has been the fastest growing company, I think, through the pandemic here. It just is phenomenal growth. So she, we made sure that the nanny that she has for the child that helps her with the child support is that somebody that the child not only loves, but they were hired for a long contract and paid really well for the job that they were doing. This makes the child happy and her happy. Then we worked out that, in fact, your team needs to be happy. What is it that they need? And so we created circles of appreciation that ran across the company from senior down to more junior levels, right? And had her deal with them. Now, when the team and the executive were happy, that was where her success came from. Right. So it's creating the infrastructure.
And I love that. As it's cool. The question is, you know, I was really wondering, what is your success habit? So are you using that for yourself?
True. Mine is, yeah, but it's very true. I didn't answer that. Mine is the same. It's a structure. So my success marker is where I physically am unwell. Where I'm physically unwell, I immensely dislike it. I hate fatigue and I hate waking up feeling low energy. So I have an entire technique for putting me into my fix. So what goes in my calendar first is the things that I need. So I make sure that my exercise goes in. I make sure that the fresh food that I need, there is somebody to cook it for me, what it is that I want to eat, and I balance it across a week. I make sure that in my exercise, I'm really anal. I mean, in my exercise program, there is the stretching, there is the cardio, it's such a drilled down thing, because this is kind of my job. It's the cardio, it's Pilates, it's this, because my posture gets very bad because I'm sitting here. So it's about working with that. I then put in when I'm going to drink. I literally put in, I'll have a day, then I have to put in social life, because I'm really bad at having a social life because I have children and I work. So I block off that time. When I've done all of that, then my work goes in. Yeah, and I would say that system keeps me sane.
Yes. So I would, again, what we always like to do in our interview series is we invite our guests to give everyone that is here with us right now just one thing they can do today to bring everything they do to a different level. Would you suggest they do that to create this kind of plan for themselves
100%.
this week? Or what is the one thing they could do today to bring everything to a different level in their life and their business?
I mean, the one thing you should do every day is to make sure that you cherish who you are and what you are, yourself. And the way to cherish yourself is to cherish what you need in your system. We call it the balance sheet technique. But you need to have yourself show up in your life every single day, because the day where you aren't going to show up in your life, you will pay for that in lower sales, lower visibility, lower a business that doesn't grow. Whereas when you do show up in your life, you everything about you is different.
So would you then suggest that everyone thinks about what is one thing I need, and I put it into my calendar for tomorrow?
And the rest of the week. So I usually plan, I usually plan a week at a time. So the one thing that you could do today is to look at the rest of your week and think, okay, if I look at the rest of this week, I have busy days on Wednesday and Thursday, I have this and that. How would you balance your week so that you got to Friday and Saturday morning, rested, awake, alive, and happy? What would you need to do during the week? That's the one thing that you could do. And then put it in your calendar.
That's powerful. And you know what? I mean, I have these kind of routines like you do, right? I mean, my sports sessions are always in my calendar first. My vacation is in my calendar first. This Friday, I have a day off. Woohoo! Right? Celebrating life. So, but again, all of you, I love, Geeta, what you're suggesting. And I invite you all, play along with us this week. Okay, think about what is one thing that makes your heart sing you need, right? Again, what is the one thing that when you have that, everything else is smooth and easy and joyful. Put it into your calendar tomorrow and every day of the week. I love that. Great, Geeta. You and I, we could keep playing forever, of course, here, and and we will keep playing. But everyone that is with us today is saying, I would really like to know more about this power lady. And so the question is, where can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Well, please come to the website. It's noshdetox.com. And other than that, Instagram and other social media, LinkedIn, it's Geeta Sidhu-Robb. So it's Geeta Sidhu-Robb.
Right. Would you like to give one final inspirational message before we round it off?
If you take yourself seriously, everybody else will. That's really the bottom line. The more seriously you take yourself, the more seriously everybody else will take you, because that's where your power comes from. And your power is the definition of your success.
I love that. If you take yourself seriously, everyone else will. That's such a powerful message. Let's round it off with that. So thank you, Geeta, for being there.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for being with us and being with us, so consistently. And as you said, play with us, on the daily challenge. Let us know in the Heart Power Global Nation what you're doing, how you're doing it, and what happens as a result of it. We're here to cheer you on and support you. And again, we'll be back with another interview very soon. But again, first of all, thank you, Geeta, one more time for being on with us. And all of you, remember, speak up, scale up, impact the world in your own powerful ways. We'll be back soon. All the best for now. Cheers.